Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. Look at this amazing view right here. Right as I was about to record, a hearse pulled up in front of me and actually pulled out a coffin out of the building. Pretty grim, but what an amazing view we have down here. Look at that old fella go past. This game looks really lovely, and I'm surprised that you had to use a mod to get a view like this. This is a mod called the first person view, and by pressing a button you're able to fly around down to the very floor of the city and see everything in action, and it looks absolutely amazing. I've spent a lot of time just wandering around the city looking at all the things that are happening, and it's really cool. Occasionally you see some stuff like that where an old lady walks inside a bus. That is no surprise, and then you can see the crowds of people close up over here, and actually if we take a closer look at them, yep, you can see there are some interesting quirks of this game. Obviously you're not really supposed to be seeing it this close up, but you can see that there's lots and lots of models here that get used over and over again, so it looks really strange when in crowds because they all share the same animations as well. So just focus on that guy with the phone there. Oh, it looks like a couple of them are out of sync with one another, although they have different coloured shirts. Maybe it's not quite the same as it was the other day. The other day I found a crowd of people and everyone who was wearing the same thing was doing their little animation at the same time. It was interesting. And look at that garbage truck, let's follow it. We can see them doing their job. So, the city looks very different from down here. I could actually like stroll around this for ages and then get lost, which is what I did. I got lost, didn't know what part of the city I was in. But if you think about it, maybe you'd be able to tell because we're on a big one-way road. There's lots of turnings off to our right, and when we get to the end here, we can turn to the left and go back down the other way. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. This view is ever so cool. So if you have the game and you want to know how to install this, what you need to do is open up Steam and click on Community Hub once you've selected the game. And then what you want to do is click on Workshop, and then you can select mods. And inside the workshop, you know, there's assets, there's maps, there's mods, and this one is called the first person view mod. And over here we're on the highway, and look, we can see the noise ramps. That's not what they're called, ramps? Walls. The noise barriers, that's the one. And then over on this side would be, oh, we can go through that, okay. There you go, there's the, that looks really nice, the bridge over to the island that we're going to be working on soon. Do you know what? I want to do so much in this world, and it seems like every episode we just do a lot of smaller things. You know, there's a lot of micromanagement that goes into this game. What a fantastic view. This looks ever so cool. What a gorgeous game. Anyway, let's exit out of this. Enough of that for now. I really wanted to show you that at the beginning. The area that we were looking at, by the way, was this over here. We went all the way up this street, down the other side. And by the way, when you've got a building like this on, you might be able to see the hearse coming up. And I think that might be one right there. It is. Let's go close. See what happens. Come on, guy. He's going to bring out a coffin. It looks so silly. Let's go in. There it is. See? And then they sort of put it in the back like that, and off they go. Oh, it's ever so cool. Let's exit out of that. So yeah, we looked up that street, came down the other side, and then we went over in this direction into this street right here. And it looks really cool from this angle. It looks great from up here as well. Absolutely love this game. And I installed a couple of other mods as well. Some of the other ones are not working. I haven't installed anything that changes the game in any way really, just a camera mod. And the other one was a brush mod for these trees, but it doesn't seem to work. So the idea was there'd be an extra one here that you could select, and you'd be able to put it down in a region and it would place multiple trees at once. But unfortunately for me, that is not working at the moment. But anyway, forgot to mention it, we do it every video. 2,000 likes for another one tomorrow. Got totally carried away with that first person camera, didn't we? And in between, you know, these videos I've been playing on the world and doing a lot of work on this city, believe it or not. I've been laying out roads over here, and I've been doing some research and reading a lot of things as well. And I've realised the way I've laid out the roads over here is very just, let's throw down some roads and see what happens, which is fine. At least for this bit right here. The roads around it are a bit more prepared and laid out, but I have been making some tweaks trying to keep on top of traffic. And if you have a look over here, you may notice that there are lots and lots of trees everywhere. Just been expanding that, and it looks real good. And one of the things that I'd like to do is to get rid of spaces like this and just fill everything up and then have trees between the roads and the buildings. So one thing you may notice are little things like that happening in the city. But today what we're going to be doing is zoning this area over here. We're also going to be playing around with trains. I did that on the other world and learned a fair bit about them. So the industrial area is going to get some care. And also what I think I want to do when it comes to traffic is actually show you some of the things that I'm going to do. Now, what tends to happen is I find a spot, like let's say over here, you can see there's a fair bit of traffic, and I think, how can we improve this? What can we do? And I tend to not do it on camera because it takes a lot of thinking, but then I realised what I could do is just tell you the bit that I'm trying to fix and then show you the end product, because I was able to fix a couple of traffic problems. So over here we did have a road there and a road here where you could go in either direction, and I removed this one, changed this to a one-way out, and that made a huge difference to the traffic that comes through here. Now obviously it's always going to be bad, there's way too many turnings off here, which we could possibly reduce if we were to connect a road across like this there, and then maybe one there as well. I think we're going to have to try that. That's going to be another thing to do in this area. Okay, so we'll start off with some traffic changes. I'll try that connection I just described with the road. Over on this end, I was thinking about removing some of these offices and having these roads that exit come over onto their own separate road and then join up further down the line. So two things we're going to do in that area. We'll come back to that in a moment once I've made those changes. Another one over here. I've changed a lot of the road system in this area as well. I've made this a one-directional road in that way. This one here is also one-directional, and because of that it means that there's no traffic lights here. So we can have a two-lane, well I say that, there are traffic lights but they're always green. But we can have a two-lane road system here. These don't have traffic lights either. Last time I checked, apparently, actually what is that? That's pedestrian crossing, isn't it? Yeah, so these ones don't have traffic, and there's parking on the side of the road. That's not the best place for it, but basically we've connected this up to the roundabout. A lot more cars are using it, and the traffic is continual because the lights are always on. So we made a big difference there. That helped with all the traffic in this region. And again, these roads right here were backed up all the way back around there. It was all red, and I made a one-way road here. This now just goes one way in that direction, and little changes like that just seem to massively affect all of the other roads they're connected to. Like this one right here was backed up for ages all the way down around this roundabout, and once I made that a one-way road, it just seemed that traffic would move through and around in this area a little bit quicker, and therefore it's only this bit that ever gets backed up now. So we've made some really big changes. I mean, there's a few other places like here that look bad, but actually if you look at what's going on, it's really not that bad at all. So we're going to keep doing that. That's the format for traffic now. I'm going to go, hey, this is what I'm going to try over here, and then I'm going to show you the end product. So let's do that. Let's make a change here and make a change to these roads as well. Okay, I got another tip for you. We're going to see these changes in action in a minute, or actually I'm going to let it run because you need to kind of let the game run for a while before these changes make a difference. But you can see here, remove some of the roads, and I've rezoned a little bit. Then down here we've got this single overpass that leads around into the highway. This has been designed so that there's no traffic lights, so that's highway to highway for no traffic lights right there. And also we've got this other little road that pops out. This is for offices, so it's going to attract less attention, but if you have a look there, we're going to use up loads of this little space in between for some offices. And yeah, we've got offices on this side of the road as well, which I actually want to remove. I want to show you a little bit of a trick right here that I have learned from the Reddit, which is, you know what Reddit is, there's a community for this on there. So you'll notice that some of these office buildings here have been unzoned along this side. There's still a few bits that need unzoning, and what we're going to do is make it so these areas right here can only connect to that side of the road. The way that we do that is using this pavement tool over here. So if we draw a pavement across each of these blocks like this, look, every so far you can't go any further, but then you just start again from the next one like that, because it's a curved road. And now we've created a pavement that goes all the way along the side there. And notice now how the grid has attached itself to that side of the road. So if we do it over here, it makes that grid right there bigger, which is really cool. And I don't think our path can actually go underneath there. It can. That's very cool. Now we've got a nice wide sidewalk on the edge of the road there. So just going through all of these one by one, you can see that now the blocks will be on the opposite side of the road, so we can have more housing on that side and less offices on this one, which is what I might do in other places as well. I'm eventually going to go all the way along there, because now we can just zone these to residential and change that one over, and there you go. There's going to be a few more blocks because of it. And I've just realised something. There were some parks around here, and I moved them over here temporarily while I was working on stuff, so I've got to find a new home for these in this area as well. I guess this building can probably squeeze in right here, although it's a one-way road. Actually, I made it so that these are one-way roads and that one isn't, so when you're coming through here you can actually go back down in that direction, which is good for the crematorium. So a little bit more rearranging to do, And I'm going to zone out all of this area for offices as well. We've destroyed some, but now we're going to have more. We've always got demand for these. So let's zone all of this out. Well, it didn't seem to make the biggest of differences, but it does seem considerably better along here. And we've got a little bit of a bottleneck right here. But if you actually look at what's happening, I mean, the traffic is flowing through really quickly. It's just a lot for a small road. And so over here we've got a highway ramp. That's because originally this was a 6-wide road. That creates stoplights, which is bad. But here's something that I've noticed. If you have a look at the noise pollution, you can see this is now a really big source of it right here. And you can see when lots of cars go over this bit, the red bit right there increases, and that's since I've made it a highway ramp. So the same amount of traffic going through, yet just because it's a highway ramp it becomes a bigger source of noise pollution. So I was thinking to reduce a little bit down here. I think this part of the road is split up into two. So if we were to select this road tool and upgrade that part, we would actually destroy some buildings. So we're not going to do that. But there you go. In fact, if we were to then upgrade all of this to a regular ramp, we would probably save a little bit of space and allow more offices in these areas. But you can see everyone's moved in. I've added in some paths along the side here. You know, no one's taking up these very small spots, but I could possibly tweak a road or two around here and then they go up. But the thing is, the demand is all industrial, no residential. So where I've destroyed some buildings, moving stuff around, it's going to stay like that, I guess. So the traffic around here has greatly improved, and it's not quite happening at the moment, but they're using the outside lane. In fact, yeah, it is. Look, they're using the outside lane so much more now because of those changes. That's really good. And look at this over here. We're going to do a little bit of work with the trains, just a little bit today. We'll do a lot more in the next one, I think. We want to focus on zoning this area over here next. But for now, what we're going to do is expand our industry over here. We're actually going to do just some regular industry, but hooked up to a cargo bay. So we've got two of them right here. You can see cargo train terminal, and by the way, you can rename every single building in the game. It would see you can click on any old building and just change the name of it, which is really cool. So what I've been thinking is that we should have our second road a little bit closer to the other one. So I made it a highway that goes, like, it overhangs just a little bit, and before this was actually a 6-lane road, so it overhung a lot more. But then I realised that I'd create traffic lights for these sections, which works out pretty well because we're not going to have anything directly attached to this road. So it's going to be a fast-flowing road out, I hope, and then we've got turnings in and off as well, which are nicely measured around the cargoes. So what I'm thinking is the industry in this area relates to this one, the industry in this area relates to that one, and then we'll expand it based on the kind of traffic in this area and see what we can do with these two in and out roads, which might not be that great. But here's the thing, we should be able to upgrade these. So let's go for a one-way 6-lane. Just click on the upgrade. Yep, we can upgrade that, and almost that. Oh, there you go, we can. But that introduces traffic lights on the highway, so we're not going to do that. Simple as. Oh, can we not upgrade? Okay, we can. Good. Downgrade even. And I've noticed that's made the zone there slightly different. That was actually too wide. But anyway, there you go. Let's add some train tracks. So these things are really easy to do because they both, they're 2 lines. So they have, you know, trains going in either direction as it is. So all you got to do is really connect this stuff up. So there we go. And now what we want to do is bring a line off of here and put it in. Can we connect? No, apparently that little bit right there is a tad too close. Let me just put that there for now and correct this quickly. There we go, now we can connect it. Awesome, that's really good, except we've got 3 of those little things stacked together. Minor detail right there. So if you're coming from this direction, you can now connect onto this line. If you're coming out of this direction, you can connect onto that one. So to make the two work together, what we need is a curved track to go sort of from there and around to this side. You can see it doesn't need too much, like it doesn't need to come off at a sharp angle like that. It's actually quite tame. So if we go like that, that would also work. There you go. So now you can go in either direction, left or right, which is really cool. That's the way you do those little triangles like that are going to emerge as we go along. So you can see I've got like a little bit of leftover road here. This is just from where I've been measuring things. And what I've been thinking is I need to tidy up a little bit of the stuff in this area, mainly to do with the ring road. But this area over here is going to be reserved for power, and I might actually destroy this and do something different with that area. But our industrial is now going to be expanded into this zone in the future. And that's good because we've got this double highway kind of system going along. So let's just bring this out of here. Where are we going to connect again? I think I can see where. If we actually let's just bring it up like that and then go underneath here. Is there going to be room for that? There is. And then we'll go up to there, and then we should be able to connect here, which poses a little bit of a challenge. You might be able to see why. We want another one of those triangles. Are we going to be able to squeeze it in like that somehow? I think what we're going to have to do is something like that. There we go. That is not pretty. I might come back and make that look a little nicer at some point, but it does the job. Yeah, so now that we've done that, we're going to check out what industrial is like in this area. So I'm going to add a couple of roads. I'm thinking it's better that the roads go across here from side to side more so than up and down. So if we add that, and that one's going to have quite a big overlap, isn't it? I'll probably extend the road at the bottom so we're not wasting any space. But we're going to zone this industrial and see what happens. Obviously, I've got to get power to this area and water as well. So I'll finish up with these roads. Also, this one right here, I'm not sure what the plan is for this road. It's a one-way road, so we can continue it going up there, except it kind of goes right into our industrial zoning area. So maybe what we'll do is get a wiggly road here. Bring it across a little bit like that. Maybe a bit sharper, actually. And then go back up this side. So where do we want it to come around to? Sort of up there, perhaps. So a little bit like that. I love this wiggly road tool, by the way. It works really, really well. And then we want to come around, so we want to go up somewhere here and in like that. I'd like it to look a little bit more curved. Let's use the curve tool here and see if we can add a bit more curve. No, that's probably going to be it. Okay. There we go, that works. Hopefully that works out nicely. Yeah, so let's get this area zoned up and running. Look at this. All of these buildings over here are loving it. They're all upgrading. Oh wow, are they jumping all the way up to the 3rd tier? Do you know what? I was investigating this on the live stream, and it actually gave you a hint somewhere. I can't remember where. I think it was when you hover over there. But basically, these buildings are going to upgrade when you connect services to them. So if you add hospitals or fire stations is a big one, they go up. But I think it's these guys right here that have made the difference. So if we click on these new buildings, look at this. Straight away, they're going to the top level of industry, it looks like. Or at least some of them are, which is really cool. Probably going to need a fire station in this area. Might have a road down the bottom here to connect the two. Put the fire station on that. Actually, that's a really smart idea. Let's do that quickly then. Yep, that'll cover the entire area. Awesome. There's power going to all of this, by the way. It's all been connected up. And look at it. They're loving it. They're using it. That's great to see. And we've got a little bit of traffic emerging already. So, what we've done is made a very small amount of industrial, and already there's a steady flow of traffic over here. And I've got a feeling that one might be used more than the other. This one is also turned off. And there we go. That's going to help some of these upgrade probably. Look at that. There they go. Amazing. Okay, we've got little up arrows. That's good. We're upgrading our industrial. This could possibly mean more traffic though, you know. As they go up levels, they might need more workers. 20 out of 24. Interesting. 32. So if we come all the way over here, 18 workers. But it's not quite as low as we need it. We need a really low one. And there's not one around. Well, we're seeing around 18 for 2/3, and for the full 3 we're seeing 32, so I'm guessing it goes up, which should mean, look at this, a little demand for residential. We need more citizens in our city now. If we click over here, unemployment is at 12%. Interesting. Going to have to redo some traffic lines and stuff like that. So what's the problem over here? Is it workers? 4 out of 18, 4 out of 18. Yep, not enough workers in these areas. But if we look at the way the roads are behaving here, and the traffic on it, it looks actually not that great. To be honest, it looks like it's quite busy for such a small amount already. But that's because they're using these right here. And there go the trains! Oh my god. That is cool, that is cool. Let's pause the game for a second, slow it down. I want to see this thing nice and close up here. There we go, check it out. Look at that lovely train. Oh, that is so cool. We got trains going, that's amazing. We're going to use these for transport as well, which was the plan initially this episode. I tend to make really big plans, like, well, hey, we'll do this, we'll do some of that, and then we'll do some zoning, and then it just takes up loads and loads of time. And a lot more time actually sitting down here and thinking about what you're doing. That's a big part of this game, it feels. So a lot of these like to make the right-hand turn around to this side and seemingly ring road around, which is interesting. These are two-way roads, by the way. And then they go in here, look, one by one. Some of them exiting straight away. Yeah, I'm going to have to put a lot of thought into this, because as soon as we add a couple more blocks of industrial here, the traffic is really going to shoot up. And I think it might be that this right here isn't good enough. And any other type of connection will involve traffic lights, which is exactly what I don't want on this top area. So maybe what we actually do is just have some very small areas. Maybe we cut off the road here and have a few of these stations. But then another problem with that is, how many of these stations do we want per industry? What about all of these ones over here? Are they trying to use it? They've certainly upgraded because of it. They may be sending trucks literally all the way out and around to the cargo station. We might be able to see that by clicking on things. Be nice if there was a way to query what's going where. So you could say, what's heading to this thing over here? And then it would highlight all the trucks, and then you'd be able to see where they're going to. Yes, and speaking of that, there's tools like that I really want added to this game, or I'd like to see. And there was one thing that I was really disappointed didn't exist, but I found out that it did, is statistics over time. So we can actually see our population change. You can see we're at the peak, and then when we did that whole get the monument achievement things, and yes, and then it dropped, and then we built it back up. But one of the problems with this is that the numbers are directly correlated to each other. So let's say we go down to tourists, we're working with 140, and then we go up to the top to the city treasury. Look, we're working with 10 million here. So as soon as I click tourists, they've literally lined the numbers next to one another. This isn't scaled for, tourism as compared to your money, which is probably not the best of relations to show. But for example, population and birth rate, maybe these are a couple of things right here. Yeah, so look at the size of the numbers there. Notice how this kind of follows the trend of population, then it drops and then it rises back up. But as soon as we put it onto population, that becomes something down the bottom here. If we could have them overlaid how we saw it a moment ago, you'd see that the birth and death rates kind of follow the population a little bit. So it's very primitive, but it is interesting to look at. And I'll click through a few of these, but most of them kind of revolve around this rise, dip, and rise again that you've seen right there. So tourist and tax income is totally different. Happiness, there you go. Residential zones, commercial and industrial, you can kind of scan those closer together. And then office zones, getting very high there. So yeah, really cool stuff with the statistics, and I think what we're going to do is just cautiously watch this over time. We've got some more demand for residential, and I think it's about time we zoned this area. So what I've done here is just laid down roads in an interesting layout, and no thought to traffic or anything like that. This is just an experiment to see how it's going to work. And then around the back here, these areas connect, and we're going to have offices coming out into these little bits. So you can see in between I've been designing roads, and again, it's all just without thought, really. I want to do some proper research at some point into all of this. And do you know what? We're actually going to make this a low density area, because I feel like we've done a lot of high density lately. So let's start zoning. Oh, that zones all of that together, does it? Let's not do all of this in one go. Let's focus on this side of the city where there's lots of space. And I remember now, I was going to put offices around the outside as a kind of sound barrier. Right, so all of that can be housing. And maybe not that bit, it's kind of close to this road. And then some offices. And yeah, as I was saying, I want to do some research at some point and come out with some really decent layouts that you can kind of build anywhere. So that'll do for now. Let's have a look at services. Let's speed it up and get people moving in as well. So this area is going to need a medical clinic, and I think things are starting to happen. Yep, they are. Let's just pause it for a second while we put these things down. So we want this to have a nice outreach. That's going to hit up a lot of this left hand side, and then we'll probably need another one like around there to hit up the right hand side. Between the two of those, that looks like it's going to cover a lot of that area, so we'll go with that. In fact, I'll turn this one over here off. So we'll lay it out for the entire area, but we'll just focus on leaving the ones on in this area. And you've probably seen this before a few times. I've got a feeling a lot of these are going to overlap, like our services will be in a similar area to one another. Seems like a good way to do it. So anyway, let me put down our service buildings, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Well, I've managed to completely lose track of time waffling on here. As these buildings expand, the power grids will connect. So we've got our services right there lumped together, another bunch over there, and then I was thinking, hey, what else do we need? Parks, yes, but then we're also trying to get all of these monuments built in the city. So these ones right here I think are a bit big and excessive to put in a residential area. However, we've got two parks right here. Their upkeep isn't too much. We've got the Fountain of Life and Death, so I think we'll put that in this space right here, and then it's got a nice area of effect. So down you go, and then we'll put this one over on the other side of the city, even though there's no one there yet. And we'll put it just about there. That's got a really nice area of effect. If it would let me place it. Why did it now say no? That's interesting. Okay, for some reason a block down from there isn't so good. Okay, so we got 2 more of those things, and we'd like to put in a few more parks as well. Alright, people are steadily moving into this area, but as always, you expand a little bit, and then you have traffic problems. Loads of traffic down here. Loads of traffic up here now as well. It's crazy. It just means I've got to look at the city again and make tweaks and changes everywhere. But there you go. We expanded a little bit. It did a lot today, this episode. What I want to do next episode is focus on the trains again and put some public transport in and around the city, which is going to be a lot of fun. But that's it for this episode today. 2,000 likes, and there'll be another one for you tomorrow. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Can't blow up that building. And I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.